Hello and welcome to this episode of Nerd Bytes. Today we'll be talking about Apdex in New Relic and why it's important. We're not going to be talking about calculations for Apdex. We'll talk about that in a future episode where we'll speak about how Apdex is calculated and how to pick the right thresholds for that going forward. Today we're just going to be speaking about what Apdex is and why it is important. So we're here in this APM application in New Relic and we can see the Apdex score down here, this Apdex chart. One of the things that we see is the score currently is 0.98, and that is based off of a Apdex threshold of 0.5. I've got this open up in the chart builder over here just so we can have a look at it a bit more zoomed in. And so what we can see here is there are multiple different segments. We have this blue top segment, then green, then yellow, and then red. Obviously red is going to be something that's really quite problematic. Yellow is getting towards that area. It's where your Apdex score is getting towards that lower range. Maybe your users aren't so satisfied with the application. Green is where we want to be, and then blue is a score that's too high. That means that the thresholds that we have set, in this case 0.5 seconds, 500 milliseconds, that is not low enough to be able to pick up potential problems in the application. So the way this is organized here and the way that this is determined is that transactions with a response time below that threshold are considered satisfying. Anything between that threshold and 4 times that threshold, so between 0.5 and 2 seconds, is a tolerated transaction. And anything above that, anything above 2 seconds, is a frustrated transaction. And so in this case, if we look at this application with our average response time here of 293 milliseconds, a threshold of 0.5 may be too high. It's unlikely that an increase in response times is going to go 4 times that 0.5. It may go 4 times that 293, but it may not go 4 times that 500 milliseconds. And so we may need to set our threshold to a lower value to get out of this blue zone and into this green zone where we want to be. But why is this important? Well, firstly, it gives you that quick view at your user satisfaction. If your Apdex score is really, really low, then your response times are likely going to be quite slow, and your users will likely be upset or frustrated with their experience using that application. But more than that, when you're looking at transactions in an incident level scenario, you're trying to troubleshoot your applications very, very quickly. You need transaction traces for that. And transaction traces are only generated for frustrated transactions by default. And so a frustrated transaction being 4 times that threshold, so in this case, a transaction that takes 2 seconds or more, if your Apdex is set too high, your threshold is set too high, that traces are unlikely to be generated, then you won't have those. These are those traces. They are the deepest level of detail in a transaction that we can see beyond getting into distributed tracing. And in this case, we can see that this one took 7 seconds. If our threshold was set so high that it was going to be, 7 seconds was not within that 4 times the threshold range, then this transaction trace wouldn't exist here in New Relic. We wouldn't be able to get into this level of detail. And so setting that Apdex score, that Apdex threshold correctly is really, really important to make sure that you're getting the detail that you need when you need it. So again, check out that video coming very soon on how Apdex is calculated and how to calculate the right threshold for you. Thanks for watching.